Back to Muscular Dystrophy Warrior, just like the last video. In every video, a moment of silence for all the fallen warriors who sadly lost the battle to muscular dystrophy. Sending prayers to all those families who have lost someone with muscular dystrophy. Well, today, you guys, I wanted to do a different video for May to start the month of May, the first week of May, basically. I wanted to talk about, what does it mean to be a carrier of Duchenne muscular dystrophy? It's an article. That's the article's name. I know my title to the video is different, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to be sharing the screen for this video so you guys can see the article and what I'm reading so you guys can follow along. Those that, you know, have a son or muscular dystrophy runs in their family, they know what a carrier is, but the outside world, doesn't really know what's a carrier. How does that affect, you know, the genes in the parents, I mean, I know there will be a lot of theories, stereotype for those that don't know how, being a carrier is, but those that we're in the muscular dystrophy community, obviously we know how it works and stuff. So I'll be sharing the screen with you guys. Just thought I'll give you guys a heads up so you're like, oh, he's doing something different. I mean, I could have talked about it on my own, but I was like, it's better if I show you guys. So I mean, so I'm gonna hide myself, so you guys can see the whole article because if I'm right here, getting see I'll move myself. All right, let's start. I found this article. This was the best one I could find, you guys. All right, I'll start reading. Duchenne muscular dystrophy, DMD, is a genetic condition that primarily affects people assigned male at birth. I know a lot, like say the outside world, doesn't know this. I mean, those that have a son with muscular, or those individuals like myself, that live with muscular dystrophy, Duchenne, obviously, I know that already, but like I said, the outside world doesn't know. However, due to the condition X-linked inheritance pattern, only people assigned female at birth can be carriers of DMD. Another thing, like I said, the outside world, people that are not involved with our community, don't know this. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is a genetic condition that leads to progressive muscle weakness, deterioration. It's caused by mutation in the DMD gene, which carries the instruction for making the protein dystrophin. Approximately 70% to 80% of people with DMD inherit genetic mutation that causes the condition from a biological parent who's a carrier. In the remaining 20% to 30% of people, the genetic mutation occurs early on during embryonic development and isn't related to genetics. Now they have a note on sex and gender. At points in this article, we use female and male to refer to birth assigned sex, and mother and father refer to genetic percentage related to birth assigned sex, unless quoting from source and using non-specific language. Birth assigned sex is typically determined by a chromosome, and gender is a social construct that can vary between time periods and culture. Both of these aspects are acknowledged to exist on a spectrum both historically and modern scientific consciousness. How does inheritance work as a carrier of Duchenne muscular dystrophy? To understand what it means to be a carrier of DMD, it's important to understand some baseline genetic patterns. Typically, people inherit 23 chromosomes from each genetic parent, 23 in the egg, and 23 in the sperm. In the sperm, I know we learned this in biology, but still, there's still a lot of stereotypes towards, understanding muscular dystrophy or any disability, even though it's like, we were taught this high school, middle school, college, for those that made it that far, in their higher education, looking for higher education, you know, resulting in total 46 chromosomes These chromosomes, which are made up of genes paired together and lay the foundation for fetal development from physical traits to biological function. Within each set of 23 chromosomes forming genetic parent is a sex chromosome, Y or X. The pairing you receive from your two genetic parents determine your birth assigned sex. People assigned female birth typically have the sex chromosome XX, and those assigned male birth typically have the sex chromosome XY. Intersex people may have different combination of chromosomes like XXY. I know a lot of you probably remember this from biology. People born with XY sex chromosome can pass on either an X or a Y, and people with an X pairing and no Y can only pass on X. How can people be carriers of DMD? Carriers are people who have one copy of a gene with a mutation that causes a recessive condition like DMD. A person who carries the condition won't show many or possibly any symptoms because they have a second functional copy of the gene. So this is a little, I like how it's explained, because a lot of people will be like those that are not familiar with muscular dystrophy at all, or they don't even know how it works. So yeah, because a lot of people might be questioning and be like, oh, didn't they see something wrong with them before they got, before they obviously got pregnant and all this and all this stuff. But like you see, sometimes there's no symptoms. So it's like hard to know if you're a carrier or not, even if there's no history in your family or you're the only person with muscular dystrophy. I feel like every disability, I think it's some disability are genetic, some are I don't know. I can't say for all disabilities, you guys can focus on mine. Recessive condition typically require a person to have two copies of a mutation to cause the condition. The exception to this are X-linked recessive condition like DMD, which result from a mutation on the X chromosome because people assigned male at birth typically only have one X chromosome. And if a mutation related to a condition is present on that chromosome, the condition fully develops. People assigned female at birth typically have two X chromosomes, even if they inherit one X chromosome. With a mutation related to DMD, having the other X chromosome without the mutation is often enough to prevent symptoms related to the low dystrophin production. This means that only people assigned female at birth can be carriers of DMD. Each time a person who is a carrier of DMD has a child who is assigned male at birth, the child has a 50% chance of developing DMD. A child assigned female at birth will have a 50 chance of being a carrier. So, in other words, it's like a coin toss. It's 50-50. They will land on head, 50-50. It will land on tails. So, but this is a lot harder to process, because you're talking about your child here. I mean, I know no parent would like to be in this situation, because it's like it's either 50 chance he developed this progressive disability or 50% if it's assigned female, even though, she's born without DMD, she still can be a carrier in the future. Can DMD carrier show symptoms of DMD? It's possible for carriers of DMD to experience symptoms related to low dystrophin production if the chromosome without a DMD mutation becomes inactive, allowing the gene with the mutation on the other chromosome to be expressed. Doctor may refer to people who experience this as manifesting carriers because they manifest symptoms of DMD despite having an unaffected gene. I didn't know this, guys. Manifesting carriers, which, I'm learning something new here because I only knew there are carriers. I didn't know this terminology. So you guys are learning something new, you know. This one, I don't know. Is DMD passed from the mother or the father? This one's a good question. From what I know, they told my mom it was my mom who passed down DMD, but I want to see what it says. People assigned female at birth, either genetic parent can pass on DMD mutation on X chromosome. Because people assigned male at birth can typically only inherit a Y chromosome from a parent who has also assigned male at birth. They can only inherit an X chromosome with a DNA mutation from a parent who was assigned female at birth. So it's what they explain. I thought it was like a little bit more explanation different, you know. Can a male child be a carrier of DMD without having the condition? People assigned male at birth can be carriers of DMD without manifesting symptoms of the condition. If they inherit a DMD mutation on their X chromosome, they will develop symptoms of dystrophy deficiency because they don't have a second gene to override it. Didn't know that. Genetic testing, yes, good question. Because I don't know a lot about how this works technically. Genetics can analyze the DNA of your cell to screen for known variants in the DMD gene. Genetics look for known deletion sections of missing DNA, duplication, copy, and repeated parts of a DNA section on the DMD gene. If you were assigned female at birth, testing positive for a mutation known to cause DMD confirm your carrier status. Because scientists haven't yet discovered the DMD causing genetic variation is possible to be a carrier of DMD, but not tested positive for genetic variation. I mean, they didn't do this when I was little, genetic testing, but I don't know how much helpful it is. You know, like it's saying it can, sometimes can't detect all the variants. Why are my reproductive options? Several reproductive options exist for people who carry DMD and want to start a family. These options may include having a natural birth, which is how people discover a pregnancy does not involve IV. I mean, they didn't have this either, guys. So this is kind of new, which let's see what's explain a little bit how it works. Natural birth, obviously, I know. Being a carotene does not affect your ability to carry or deliver children. Yes, it doesn't affect for people that think it affects. You heard it here. It doesn't. If a partner with a DMD woman gives birth to a child who is assigned female at birth, that child will have 50% chance of being a DMD carrier. I mean, we already read this earlier, but it's just restating it. Child who is assigned male, bro, will have 50% chance of having DMD. So obviously I was born the natural way, natural birth that most of us muscular dystrophy individual were born now. Let's check this one. Pre-implantation genetic testing. This is a new thing, you know. I don't know how many people watching my video have done this procedure, but I would like to read it a little bit because like I said, this didn't exist when I was little, you know. So it's interesting. I want to see what it says. People who want to avoid passing on a DMT may choose to undergo experimentation, genetic testing, PGT, which is a procedure doctors use alongside a virtual fertilization. IV, I heard. I mean, I heard a little bit of IV, you know, and stuff, but not don't know really how it works. IV involves free fertilizing egg with sperm on top of someone's body in a laboratory. I mean, yeah, I know there's sperm donors. I mean, I don't know if it's the same thing or not. Typically, IV creates multiple embryos. Doctor can then use a PGT to screen the DNA of those embryos for a DNA mutation before implanting into the uterus. Only embryos that test negative to PGT will be candidate for the final stage of IV. Wow, I don't know how many people who know that they must DMD runs in the family because I've seen people that have posted online so that they don't there's no like history of muscular dystrophy. So I don't know how will you know to test, you know, in on this route. PhD is incredible through according to a 2023 literature review, there may be unknown or small duplication or deletion of PhD can detect certain genetic condition. It's also not a guarantee that it will lead to a pregnancy. Wow, like wow, it's a very complicated decision for families, you know. And this is the new. reality, guys. Because we have the old reality. Now, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but this is how, a lot of us were diagnosed because we were our parents, our moms, when natural birth, now we have this pre-planning genetic testing, but, like I don't know how much it costs to do this procedure. And like I said, it's not guaranteed to get pregnant. So I'm like, I don't know how many times they can do pre-planning genetic, the IVF, till, you start your own family. Then we have adoption. I mean, people who don't want to pass on the to might also can adopt a child, which can be highly rewarding experience. There are currently more than 1,000 children waiting for adoption in the United States. Yes, I mean, obviously, there's this option, I don't think a lot of people talk about this option in the DMD community, but sometimes it's like complicated, because there's individuals that, prefer to have their own son, they have their own, it's as their blood, because sometimes, uh, there's issue with, your parents, your in-laws, they'd be like, oh, but we want grandson that's, ours, who's, has our blood and stuff. So, and some people, don't want to go this route, but I mean, then we have the one I mentioned, eggs or sperm donation. I don't think people really mentioned this to parents back then. Another people may consider on what IVF is using donor sperm or egg from someone who is not cared or affected by DMD. I mean, if you think about it, guys, this is like a little easier route. I'll say because I don't know how much this, pre-planning genetic testing is. For this one, that's the downside, how much will it be? And it's not guaranteed. But on the other hand, you won't pass DMD. So then the adoption, it's a long process, you guys, adopting someone, don't, it's not like the easiest. I think, they have a lot of things to do, to make sure you're a candidate to adopt a child, that you don't know like how their living condition was before they, were get adopted to a different family. Then the egg and sperm donation. I mean, like I don't know how much is it to do, the egg and sperm donation. But like I mentioned, they never mentioned this when I was little. They only told my mom when she went to have another kid, they can do a procedure. I think it was probably genetic testing to see if she had another child. Would he have DMD? But they never said, oh, there's pre-planning. They never gave us the adoption option if they wanted to have another kid or egg and sperm donation. They really didn't really mention none of that until I, reading this article. If you'd like to learn more about being a DMD care, you can visit or contact the following organization: Muscular Dystrophy Association, MDA, Parent Project in Muscular Dystrophy, PPMD, National Human Genome Research Institution, Genetic Alliance. Now let's see what the final takeaway is, guys. The treat muscular dystrophy DMD is a genetic condition that permanently affects people assigned male at birth. People typically inherit DMD as an X-linked receive condition, which means DMD gene mutation occur on the X sex chromosome. Due to sex inheritance pattern, only people with two chromosomes who are typically assigned female at birth can be carriers for DMD. Of DMD, my bad. People assigned male at birth with a DMD mutation on the X will develop DMD. And so that's the article, you guys. I wanted to share a lot of information, you guys. Man, at the end of the day, I feel like it's a tough situation to be in, you guys, not just for the parent, from the start, you guys can see muscular dystrophy. It's hassle, from the start, and stuff. And obviously, guys, we have come a long way, you guys. A lot of new treatments, a lot, genetic testing, IVF. I don't remember when I was little, they never really mentioned anything about, IVF, freezing your eggs, doing all that, spawn eggs and sperm donors, past always exist, you go to the sperm bank and stuff, but they never really I don't think they gave parents back then that option, if they're planning on having another kid, or if they have a family member who has DMD, they might go and do genetic testing to see, they never really told us, like, oh, you can tell your family member to do genetic testing. Obviously I'm an only child, but for those that have, other kids, and probably most of them would like to do genetic testing because they'll be like, oh, I don't want to, you know, have a son, with DMD, like my brother, my nephew, and stuff like that. 'Cause there's a lot of people that I have read or follow their content that they're not just them, it's for family members who have sadly passed away due to DMD, and now they're like in that position, of having someone with DMD. So this video was just for educational purposes, you guys. I'm not trying to, you know, do this, make this feel uncomfortable or get misunderstood. I'm just trying to educate the outside world, you guys, because people don't really think it's that complicated, DMD. But I hope those people who are not in the DMD community or are just starting their journey, or whoever, you're curious to know. So this is how, being a carrier works, And I decided to do this because it's Mother's Day, and stuff. And I feel, like you read the mother is the one who passing the mutation, and stuff. And I'll be focused on things, I'm getting put it, I didn't create this video for, to be all like it's the mom's fault. No, it's like, you know, it is what it is, you guys, Sadly, it is what it is. Hopefully we can find a cure for this disability, this progressive condition, this cruel condition, and stuff. But it's like, you know, the mom can sometimes feel like it's my fault. And I just want to say it's not your guys' fault, It is, genetics, There's no way you guys could knew this would happen. I know every mom out there, if they can go back in time or do something for their kids not to suffer with DMD, I know they would do it. But sadly, there's still no cure, you guys. But on the positive side, we have come a long way, you guys. A lot of new treatments out there. I know there's a lot of side effects, but there's, positive, there's still faith, there's still hope to someday find a cure. So I just wanted to say positive message to all the special needs moms, you guys are not alone, there's tons of people who are special needs mom, if we all come together, it doesn't matter what disability you have, if we all the special need mom come together, we're a strong community, united, for you guys' kids, and stuff, nephews, you know, grandmothers are united for their grandsons, So I mean, that's why I wanted to do this video, a little bit about this. My next video gonna be focused a little bit more, not on an educational video, on stereotypes, because it's Mother's Days and special need moms are very strong individuals, but they have to go through a lot, hear a lot of stereotypes and stuff. But I would like to end that stuff, because it's not easy, you guys. It's not easy. Those that are mothers to special need kids understand, but sometimes, it can feel like the outside world doesn't really understand us. For June, I'll be talking about fathers, the dads who have a son with DMD. And yeah, think I have a couple of ideas to talk about, a couple of topics that I think is not really discussed. But like I said, all my videos are educational purposes and to bring awareness. And like always, you guys, thank you for your support. I wouldn't be here without you guys. Thank you for continuing your support. And like always, you guys, you already know if you've been following my channel for quite some time, you know how I ended. Those that are not are new, this is how I ended you guys with MD Warrior out until next time.